Welcome to That Entrepreneur Life, a podcast about entrepreneurship that takes you from idea to launch and beyond. Each week, your hosts, Andrew Lees and Clint McPherson, discuss different business topics aimed at adding value to any entrepreneur's journey.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of That Entrepreneur Life. I'm Andrew Lees, and I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Clint McPherson. What's up, man?
Not much, brother. I'm just glad to be here again for another episode. Every time we record, it's a blessing, right, to get together. But let's go ahead and kick this thing off by welcoming our special guest, Ashley Armstrong, to the show.
Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Ashley, for being here. We're very happy to have you. Before we kick it off, can you just tell us who you are and kind of what you're all about? Explain that to our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Ashley Armstrong, and I'm the hidden rules expert, and I help established product companies find millions of dollars they're leaving on the table by leveraging the power of Amazon.
That's a cool niche to be in, and it's a powerful niche, right? I mean, if you can leverage, it seems like if you're in the Google game or if you're in the Amazon game, you're where it's at, you know, like, especially if you can figure that out, because it could be a nightmare to some people trying to ride those waves. But when you have somebody like yourself that's an expert in those areas, that's really helpful. And with that said, though, as an expert Amazon and 8-figure product sales consultant yourself, can you take us back to when your entrepreneurial journey started and what it is about entrepreneurship and your current niche that you found now that you're actually excited about?
Yeah, I would say I'm probably cliche. Like most people, we kind of come out of the womb with the entrepreneurial spirit, you know, building ashtrays on the beach with the clay I found and selling it for 25 cents. So I definitely have that natural gene, I guess you could say. When it came to my online experience, I was living in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. And as an expat, there's not too many things that you can actually do when it comes to work. And I was also a new mom. So long story short, I'm like, okay, I have a bucket list of things I want to do. I wrote a book series about my children for my children. In case I die early one day, I know it's a really weird thing to say that, but it's about how to be an entrepreneur and how to create vision boards and how to deal with bullies and, you know, things like that. And after having, you know, bestseller success with those, I'm like, holy crap, like there's way more that needs to be done. And I was manufacturing my own products in my home and selling them locally. I was the local naturopath and childbirth educator. And I created all these expat support communities within that little town. And I was like, how the hell do I get this thing broader and wider? Because this is just like paying a little bit of the bills, but I need to have a broader reach. And then from there, I just dove right in on understanding the manufacturing and how that worked. And so I basically just spent years with a team of 12 in China. I was manufacturing products and built a 7-figure business, all, you know, online from, you know, my bed, basically, which was pretty awesome. And lo and behold, I ended up meeting up with Dan Hollings, and then I decided to do partnership with him. And then for the last 5 years, it's just been growing and expanding software tools and strategies and training programs and all those fun things. And then now I'm just predominantly on my own, which makes it even more exciting because all of my strategies and things that I do personally are now starting, like we just launched a new training and new tools and everything else like that to help sellers, and not just Amazon sellers, but all e-commerce sellers. So it's been a fun ride in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, it's, there's a lot wrapped up in there for sure. Do you still sell products on Amazon of your own, or have you like sort of shifted more to helping your clients?
Yeah, I still have some stuff going, but I do shift. I'll do product partnerships. So I work with someone who happens to have one aspect that I may not have, or they have a great niche, or they have a great email list, or they have a great audience, or of course they have, you know, cash in the bank, whatever it might be. And then I kind of come in and we just do joint venture partnerships and a lot of, you know, product launches and stuff like that, as well as just consulting companies. Okay.
Interesting. And when you're looking for those kind of products that you're interested in partnering with, what are you looking for in a product?
Well, oh gosh, that is such a loaded question. Why would you do that to me? Well, there's so many different ways of looking at it. And you as a seller, like there's the whole, Me Too product issue, which is like, anyone Yeah, especially on Amazon. Like this is a generic product. It's like a little KC thing that holds my AirPod Pros. So you can literally find a manufacturer within, Shenzhen or somewhere overseas, doesn't necessarily have to be China, that can manufacture it. Yeah. And Alibaba, they are all over the place, but anyone can throw their name on here and anyone can manufacture it. So it's literally a Me Too product. Every single person can have this in different shapes or colors or whatever it might be. So you have to be careful not to fall down that rabbit hole. And that's how I got started. Like literally, if you want to know, my very first product cost me 25 cents and it was a sunshade for a car. I was literally the only person on Amazon that had this damn product, which is how it really launched me. I'm really good at finding golden nugget products, like holes in the market. I don't know what it is, but I was selling the damn thing for $19 and I went from 0 to 30 grand in 30 days. And I just did that product after product after product, but it was a Me Too product. And then as soon as people started finding out about like, oh shit, what's this person doing? Because I've been sharing my success. And I was like 250,000, 500, they just kept like, oh my God. And then people just started copying, like they just got on my bandwagon, stealing my products, stealing my intellectual property. I mean, like it was like tons of copycats. This is like, like we're talking like years ago, right? Like almost a decade ago. So when things were kind of getting started. So I kind of fell into that trap, but I didn't understand that I needed to have an exit strategy. So there's tons of really amazing like product ideas. And if you see a hole in the market and it does happen to be something super generic that, when people catch on that they could technically kind of come on board and jump, take part of your pie, I guess you could say, just have an exit strategy, like get in and get out, you know what I mean? Make the money and get out and then reinvest that money into something else. But when it comes to product partnership, really at the end of the day, to do it right, of course, cash flow is the really big thing. Making sure that either you or the person you're working with has a full stack team. I mean, like we need content writers, we need graphic designers, we need marketers, we need, specifically to different ad sets, whatever platform you're going to be on, and experts in that round. So if you have an entire full stack team, then of course you have to have a reach. So email lists, so, an engaging audience of some kind. And then when you do launch a product, you have a much better opportunity of being successful right out of the gate when you do a product launch, because you have all those assets in place already. So those are, that's kind of generic and basic. Everyone would basically say that. If it was the perfect world, I'd have all these things. Sometimes you have to put them together, but, that's the most is what you're looking for.
Yeah. You want kind of people to come to you with at least some of that or some traction with their products and have a list. And that is, I think having an email list is so important to a successful product launch. There's a company that helps with crowdfunding. And they actually do like a pre-crowdfunding, like it's a crowdfunding for the crowdfunding. And it's kind of like a test phase. And what they're doing with that is they're building a list, but they're not just building a list, they're getting intent. So they'll have somebody put down $1, say, all right, great. You're interested in learning about when we go live with this crowdfunding campaign. But then to take it a step further, if you put $1 down, you'll get an extra discount or something like that, And then when they launch, when they do the crowdfunding campaign, it's like they fund it in like couple hours or something crazy. So kind of to your point about the more you have, the more, the more contacts you have and the more reach you have in the beginning, the easier and the faster it's going to be. But that takes work, obviously.
It takes time, takes strategy. Yeah. It's like launching a book. It takes a whole year to do the marketing, generally speaking, before you even let people know you have a book. So if it takes like a year to product launch a book, if it takes a year to do a movie, like we see the trailers like 6 months before, then like 3 months before, and then they get out more, Like it's this buildup and every industry does it. So why we wouldn't do it, I don't know, but follow along. It seems to work.
That's a perfect example. I have several clients they created a book, right? I'll do the design cover and then it's just like, here's the book. And there's been no excitement, zero anything.
There's a million books published a day on Amazon. So come on.
I'm just like, what's going on right now? Like, come on. You got to at least get people excited about it. Let them know like, okay, this is coming out. Go on podcasts, go on radio, whatever you can, get it going. Like, so everybody's expecting it, right? And your first one might not be overly successful, But once it comes out, and then you're able to, people start picking it up and you build an audience there, right? Or get that email list or get that traction, that organic traffic, then you have something to work with. But until then, it's just like anybody that creates anything, if you just say, here it is, right? I mean, come on. They're like operating inside of a bubble.
Yeah, just crickets.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we were just talking about some marketing techniques that you would typically use if you're driving traffic to your own site. So, what I'm interested in is why, you're spending a lot of time and energy in making sure that you're getting Amazon sales, which are great. But why not spend that same energy and try and get all the traffic to your own site, which is a platform that you own?
Right. I love that you asked that question, because most people don't see behind the curtain. I always like to pull the curtain back, because like what you see out front, like the bells and the whistles and all this stuff, is like, that's like one thing, but that really means absolutely nothing. It's what's behind the curtain, the operating, how things are functioning. So when you're looking at the two different platforms, you absolutely do not want to put all your eggs in one basket. You should never have just an Amazon storefront and like that's it. You can start there because obviously it's the biggest fishing pond to go fishing in. But you definitely do need to have and build up your own billable assets, because at the end of the day, the whole reason why we build things is either it's going to pay your bills and continue, looking after your family, or you're going to have that an exit strategy and you're going to sell it and recoup, and then hopefully recoup a hell of a lot. You know what I mean? So having billable assets is extremely important, and having that in your business plan from the get-go is essential. So when it comes to driving traffic and the difference between Amazon and say your own e-commerce website, well, with your e-commerce website, yes, you absolutely want to be driving traffic to it. You are going to capture the customer data information. You're going to get their email address, their shipping information, and everything along those lines. And you're going to also be able to look at your customer's path to purchase because of all the touch points on your own website. Especially if you have like a heat map or whatever, you get way more information that way. And then that allows you to kind of understand who your ideal customer is, what they're looking for, and things of that nature that helps you refine getting that conversion rate that you're looking for. So that's ridiculously important. You can't get any of that information on Amazon, and that's why it's so important. So then if we flip the switch and we go over to Amazon, it's like, okay, great. Well, Amazon has a crap ton of people that can buy from you. They literally sell 4,000 products a minute. Like, hello, I want to be in on that, right? The fact of the matter is that you do not get your email address when you're selling to someone on Amazon, and you do not get the customer information. Yes, you do get some of the shipping information, especially depending on if you're fulfilled by merchant or fulfilled by Amazon or whatnot. But the difference between the two of them is that your website, it's one sale, it's one purchase, and that's it. Yes, data, but that's it. With Amazon, yes, you get the sale, and yes, you get the purchase, and you do have that person technically within your Amazon sphere. But what happens with Amazon, it's all run by robots and algorithms, is you get ranking juice. So when you're driving traffic and you get your one sale on Amazon, say you're on page like 10 or 20, and then you get another sale, and then you're on page like, 9, and then you get more sales. Now you get page 7, you get more sales, and the robots keep pushing your product listing closer to page 1, which is where all the shoppers are. So if you have paid traffic helping you boost your ranking of your product to get you closer to page 1, there's millions of shoppers between page 1 and 3. So if you can get your product in front of them, not only are you getting the opportunity to make a sale with Amazon, but you're going to be found by millions of other people organically without having to spend any money. So your website will never get as many people in front of it as you can on Amazon, like unless you have a massively huge budget, of course, or you have like a massively huge influencer that's driving traffic to it. So that's why it's ridiculously important to understand the two. They're both essential and you need to have them, but the Amazon space allows you to find more shoppers 10 times faster, drive your sales 10 times faster. And if you're doing it right and you're working with someone who helps you build a customer retention strategy, you're literally using Amazon to fish for customers, and you're going to take those people and you're going to move them over into your social profile so you can capture them as your own lead. So again, it's literally a circle. That's all you want to do is like leverage everything that's available to you, and don't just let it be one sale. Like there's a hell of a lot more that happens after the sale that you should and can be doing.
Okay. Now, are you able to retarget? How are you getting back in front of those customers because you don't have an email, you aren't able to, and in my experience that, we can be like super nice with customer service and write this great message to a customer and they just ignore it, or, they're just not, it's not the same. Like on our website, our customers it's completely different customer. It's very interesting, but how do you get those, how do you get that information and then use it, kind of however you want?
Yeah, it's a really great question. There's a million ways to do it, and every product, every niche, every audience is totally different. So I'm just going to generically, put this out there. Generally speaking, a lot of people who sell on the platform are pretty much aware of the whole idea of insert cards, because that's kind of like the only touch point that you can, because you have to have that human touch point as much as possible. Like when we were doing it, we used to actually call the customer after every purchase on Amazon. So we used to get all that information. And so many of us were calling, did you have a good experience? Do you like our product? Can you please leave us a 5-star review? There's so many people doing that complained. And of course, Amazon removed the customer information because too many of us were trying to be that, to go that extra mile or whatnot. But, when it comes to moving traffic around, with your website, you have more personable. It's really who you are and what you are and what you stand for. And that's very obvious and apparent because you have full control over that. Within Amazon, you have to make sure that the information and the messaging is clear and you are bridging that gap. So it all has to be consistent no matter how you shake it. So your listings need to be optimized properly that represent who you are and what you do outside of Amazon. And when you're properly positioning your product lines online, which is like my favorite thing to do, it's kind of like my bread and butter when I work with customers or with my clients, having a product, let's just say this sort of an exercise product, because that's an easy one to do. You're not allowed to email them afterwards. As you said, you can't call them. A lot of times you're not getting their email, their actual address. So you can't really send them snail mail. And that's a gray space area. You're not supposed to do it. Some people do it where they do send, extra things on top of it. So say they got like a water bottle. So you mail them like a stainless steel straw as a thank you. So that kind of stuff works. And when you're going do those extra touch points, doing that with asking them to go over here to watch a how-to tutorial training video. This is my YouTube series on how to use this exercise band, or this is an extended warranty, or whatever it might be, whatever you can do depending on your product and your niche and your audience that you can kind of somehow convince them to opt into something that they need that is complementary to the products. That's really how you end up fishing for people. And you're doing it already anyways. A lot of, companies with their own websites or with their, Instagram account or whatever it might be, but they just may not have realized that that's that bridge that they should and can be using.
So you could send something in the product, with the product that you're sending, you could have like a card. Like we have a little card in there that asks for a review and explains why it's so important. And so we could also have some other bit of information or something that's helpful for them that might warrant them to log or send their email to us for something. Yeah.
Yeah. And a perfect example of that with one of my clients. Now you have to be really careful. Amazon's constantly changing, like literally every single day. It's really hard to keep up. You have to be in in a huge group of other people who everyone has their finger on the pulse, just so you know what the hell is going on. But you can't really ask for reviews. You have to be super nonchalant in how you do it, especially when it comes to the insert cards. There actually is groups of sellers who are buying products on Amazon and they see other sellers breaking the rules and they're actually reporting them. So those types of groups are breaking out right now. So you really want to be careful. It's not just Amazon's people who rarely ever see it. There's so many of us sellers, and so many sellers are so pissed off that people are doing black hat tactics that they're throwing them under the bus. So FYI, to anyone who happens to be a seller, there are groups popping up everywhere doing that. But to go back to one of my clients, they have a shapewear company. It's very intimate. It's very female driven. It's very, powerful, making sure that the women has everything they need when it comes to confidence and so on and so forth. And the best way that we were able to actually capture the individuals that were buying on Amazon and moving them over into their social profiles is we had a video tutorial series that they had to opt in for, which you could easily just do on, YouTube, which is pretty much free. You can have little login, or if you have a membership site, whatever works best for you. and it showed them like how to put it on and how to use it and, things of that nature. But then they also had another thing where they had a challenge. And it was like, to get your confidence back challenge kind of thing. And we're launching that so it's ready to go for New Year's, because we all know New Year's is about resolutions and like making sure that you're taking the best step forward. So that was started months ago, and it's in like, printing production now, and we're testing it now. So it's ready to go for January. So like, like that's kind of like a little bit of a flow. Again, it's pre-organized, 6 months in advance, to kind of get to that. But with that, you're creating engagement. The customer's getting to know who the company is. They're starting to have like that brand recognition, and then they can become the loyal ambassadors that you want your customers to be, because that word of mouth advertising is like, it's worth its weight in gold. And the only way to do that is to have like that human touch engagement with your consumer. So it's so not touchy friendly when you're shopping on Amazon, but you can make it touchy friendly if you just put a little bit of strategy behind it.
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. And it probably, it lets people know, because I think as a consumer on Amazon, you really want everything to be super easy and streamlined, because they make it like that. And it's great. They make it super easy to buy. They make it super easy to return. I just returned something today. I just literally dropped it off. I didn't even put it in a box. I dropped it off at UPS. They scanned my phone on the QR code and that walked out. It's crazy. But the things in between, I think what I've noticed is that people seem to be afraid that if they have an issue and they have a question, that they're not going to be heard. And so, and we're like, hey, please, like, please just email us. We're just, we're a couple of guys. We, make these products, and we're real humans, and we're not robots. So like, interact with us. We will interact back, So I think, having that natural, if you can create that from the beginning and set them up to know who they're dealing with, and that they're actually, they bought a product on Amazon for the convenience, but the product was made by real humans who actually care. That's huge.
Absolutely. Nailed it.
So Ashley, with your e-commerce consulting firm, right? And y'all specialize in navigating Amazon's hidden rules of engagement. Okay. And so with that said, you've helped thousands of sellers properly position their product lines in order to increase their sales, build a loyal, customer base, and drive revenue. But with that said, what are some of the key things that vendors should be aware of when setting up their listings to help them be successful?
Wow, that's also a loaded question. So I'll do my best to just get like the overview. Well, first and foremost, identifying who your customer is, your customer avatar, your ideal client, is crazy important. And a lot of times I find people just throw products up to sell things just to make money, and that's all fine and dandy. There's tons of businesses that you just set up just to make money. But if you can bring in a reason, that human touch, like that empathy, that energy into it, it just works a hell of a lot better, because you're more intimate with your own products. So doing your due diligence, doing the research, getting into the language of your consumer, looking at your competitors, seeing what is working and not working with your competitor products, because all that information is free and viable through Facebook ads. Look at all the comments. Instagram, look at all the comments. Of course, the actual product listings has, reviews and things of that nature as well. So there's so much information that is given to you for free. You just have to put a little bit of elbow grease into it. So when it comes to your listing, take a look at that, do your research and your competitor analysis, bring all that together. And then when you are creating your listings on Amazon, you have to really make sure that you are paying attention to how people shop. There's 150 million people using the Amazon app on their cell phone to buy products. And they sell 4,000 products a minute. That's a hell of a lot of transactions going on. People don't read. 15 years ago, we used to have like a 7-minute attention span. Now, statistically, we're down to 7 seconds. People don't read anything. They'll go to a blog. They'll go to literally anything on the internet. They'll look at every single one of your images, but they won't read anything. So you have to take that into consideration when it comes to positioning your product line. So other than doing your keyword research, other than understanding the language of the consumer, you definitely want to make sure you have it clearly mapped out, the who it's for, what it does, the who, what, where, how, why, and when. And you want to answer all those questions, not only within the listing itself, the written part, because that gets picked up by the robots. for, SEO and optimization and, making sure the customers find the listing. But the images is what actually converts into the sales nowadays. Because if you remember, go to your cell phone, look at a product listing. What's the first thing you see? Images. Do you actually read the bullet points? Can you find them? You literally have to scroll up and hit a button to get it to extend. And it's just they make it really, really hard. So when it comes to setting up your product listing, you want to be creating infographics of your products, the who, the what, the where, the how, the why, and the when. And that will allow people to understand what it is that they're purchasing in order for them to make that educated buyer decision. Because we do not want buyer decision fatigue. When there's too many options and you're not giving them enough information, they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then they're like, screw it, I'm done. I can't decide. And they walk away and you lose the opportunity. So you can totally disqualify the competition if you really set yourself up. And so, that's the one thing that we focus on with our clients is proper product positioning. And we use infographics to specifically be able to, convert people. And the same thing that you do on Amazon, you need to do on your own personal website. Because a lot of people will put a lot of energy into Amazon because you actually have to, or you will never be found. But then they literally don't use the same information on their website. And it's totally different. And I'm like, what the hell? You put all this money and time and energy to optimize over here. It's beautiful. Use that over here. So, when it comes to really with your product listing, it's just knowing your audience and, having a consultant or someone come in to making sure that you're really hitting all those touch points that describes what it is you're doing and who you're doing it for. And then just making sure that you are constantly updating and split testing out the visual content that really does end up making or breaking that conversion rate for people to kind of come through. And it also lowers your returns as well, because if people know what they're getting better, then they're going to buy it rather than not. It's I'm not sure if this is really it. It's does it have an inside pocket or not? Does it have a zipper? Does it have a hood in the back there? I'm not too sure. So I'm going to buy it. And then you get it and there's no inside pocket, but that's actually a breaker. And then you send it back. But if you had an infographic saying arrow, no pocket, or yes pocket, or whatever, then you're going to limit the amount of returns or bad customer feedback or whatever. So there's so many reasons why you want to properly position your product listings. And I could go on forever because it's just I love that talking about that stuff.
Infographics, you're able to answer their questions they're thinking about, right? Until they're like, well, I'll just order it because it's so easy to return. But it still is an inconvenience,
Well, it's huge because if you get too many returns, you're actually hurting your account health selling on Amazon. And if you're getting too many returns, they're going to shut off your listing. You're not allowed to sell anymore. Then you're like, I promise I'm going to do a better job. And and you give them this big ass excuse as to I'm going to do better. I'm going to make sure I have less returns. And then if it happens again, they shut down your listings. And then after a while, they could actually boot you off of Amazon for good for any reason that they choose, they don't really follow their own rules per se. So, knowing that, again, it's like walking on eggshells. There's reasons why you want to set up your listing to sell, but there's also reasons why to make sure you're in good standings with Amazon so they don't boot you off. Yeah. So it's like a double-edged sword, Yeah.
And you really do want to make sure it's very clear, what they're getting, because like you said, I think people are very quick because the whole process is so quick. Psychologically, it's not a big deal to purchase a several $100 product now on Amazon, because if you don't like it, you return it. And like I mentioned earlier, you don't even have to box it up and pay for it. You just hand it to UPS, and for some magical reason, UPS takes it and they do something, they box it up. But I don't know what kind of deal that Amazon has with them, but yeah, it's so easy, which is awesome. I love that's they make it so they're trying to take every single little tiny pain point out of the purchasing experience, and that makes so much sense. They're converging on something that's now much better than going into a store and buying something, free shipping, easy returns, all this stuff. So it makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, like you said, the attention span is, they're not people. Some people are looking at things. I try and read through the description, make sure I'm getting.
When I'm really serious, I read. Yeah. But until I get serious,
exactly.
I ain't reading nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and you might not even fully. You might end up, if there's different material options, let's say like different, and there's different colors or something, you might not even realize that you bought one color or one material over another, and then you get it, and it's like, oh, what the heck? I didn't order this. So even if you did, so yeah, I think that's critical. Yeah. So are you focusing on, we've talked a lot about sort of organic, how to increase your ranking organically. Like we haven't really talked about ads yet. Is everything that you do really focused around organic rank on Amazon, or do you also do a lot with ads, or,
Both need to happen. Like really at the end of the day, you can't get away from it. You know what I mean? Like it has to happen.
Yeah.
You can only do so much organically, and then you just have to have paid traffic. And the fact of the matter is the longer, it's like this for pretty much every platform. Amazon's totally different than, Google ads or Facebook ads. They all have like their own rules and whatever. And you want to have an expert who's managing each one of those things for you, because again, they do have their own rules, and ways that they get things done. But the history of how long the ads are running is so important. Like if you have a brand new product up there and you throw an ad up there, you generally can't even have an ad going on a brand new product listing because it's not even matured yet. Like you have to mature your product, you have to mature your seller account to prove to Amazon that you're legitimate, you're going to follow the rules, and they're all great and dandy. But then you also have to mature your listing, which is like, getting your first, 10 reviews and making sure it's optimized and kind of like playing around with it and getting that stuff started. But until that happens, you can't even set up an ad, even if you wanted to. Like, I'll give you $1,000 for like one click, but they won't do it. They're just like, no, you haven't proved to us yet. So having that, even if you're paying like the smallest amount on daily ad spend, just to like, as soon as you're allowed to have an ad, just have something going inside of Amazon is what I'm talking about, because that history is so ridiculously important. The longer you have it going, the more Amazon trusts you. And then of course, as you start upping it, then the more like you're going to get more opportunities. They're going to show your listing a little bit more. And then of course, if you're working with someone who understands how the ads actually work and how to find your customer, is really discovering your customer's path to purchase is what you need the ads to do. Because again, it's all data. And I'm not a huge data person, but at the end of the day, it makes perfect sense where it's just like, okay, if I'm selling like this cover case thingies for my, AirPods. If you put in like AirPod case, so that's a pretty generic, big, keyword or search term. And you have to figure out, okay, well, like, what are people really looking for and how are they really looking for it? And so like, if we break it down, the easiest thing for most people to understand is, let's just say jeans. Okay. So jeans is a search term. It's freaking huge. There could be blue, black, white, men, women, children's, too many freaking things. So using the word jeans in an ad campaign is not going to help you find your ideal client. So it's kind of like too broad. And then you kind of bring it down. You're like, okay, well, the next step down is actually women's jeans. And like, oh, okay, so women's jeans. And then if you can get those in your ads and you can get people to start clicking on them, then you can go break it down even further. So this is how you like end up finding your customer path to purchase. If you break it down even further, yeah, it's the long tail, but it's also being really precise. A lot of people think that throwing these big, broad, like I have a yoga mat, but I'm going to get a keyword in there that I'm going to start targeting that says meditation. Well, meditation has absolutely nothing to do with the product. It's not. So don't do it. Why spend your money on it? That's not part of the customer's path to purchase. The customer's path to purchase is like, okay, a woman wants jeans. And then, or like someone wants jeans. Like, okay, let's break that down. Women's jeans. Okay, so then let's break that down. And it's like high-waisted jeans. So like, okay, let's break that down. High-waisted jeans, black. You know what I mean? Break that down. Women's high-waisted jeans, black. You know what I mean? Like, then like that's the customer's path to purchase. So in your ad campaigns, you want to break all these things up into small little categories that you can run the ads on, the bigger ones, and then fish out and then like condense all the way down to like your 80-20 rule. You're going to get like 80% of your sales out of 20% of your keywords. So you have to discover that customer's path to purchase of exactly what they're typing in to find your product. And it's always perfectly describing whatever it is that you're selling. It's not like, as I said before, the yoga mat and meditation. They're totally two different far away. So, you do have to have the ads as well as think about the organic. And that's just the way it goes for every business. Like every business in the world, they do both. So why would you not do both?
Yeah, exactly. Now, for a product that has, some products are just kind of a one-time buy type thing. A lot of products are, but then you've also got, and I feel like they're a little bit harder, maybe because, like let's say you're selling coffee. It's a repeat purchase. You can lose money on the first sale because you're going to make it up going forward. So you can run ads maybe more aggressively, or at least you're not afraid to lose some money to get that first customer, because as long as your coffee is good, you're going to keep it. But, do you have a similar strategy for those kind of products as the one-time buy things? Or
I think if you, at the end of the day, having something that is going to be like on a subscription base, or something that's going to be a repeat sale, that's kind of a given. It's obvious you definitely want that. That's your residual. It's sort of income type of business model that perfectly works. But at the same time, at the end of the day, it's the exact same damn thing if you're going to be selling one product at one time. You know what I mean? Because you want to, again, the whole reason of doing anything or selling anything really is to grow a billable asset, which is a customer list. Because if you have an audience, it's worth its weight in gold. So even if you have a one-time product, again, you want to have that exit strategy in your business plan. Because perfect example. Okay. So I have a friend of mine, you're going to love this. I have a friend of mine who literally took like Cheerios, like a box of freaking Cheerios, dumped them out on his table, took 10 of them, put them inside a little zippy bag, and then stapled like a little like header on it that was donut seeds. Dude made millions of dollars on that. He only sold it for like 3 years in and out, or less than 3 years, like in and out, because it's a gag gift. Gag gifts are freaking amazing. Millions of dollars of Cheerios.
That's so awesome and frustrating all at the same time. When you're trying to sell like a legit product and you're trying to get that to go. And like think about like the pet rock,
like a rock in a box.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Kids freaking love that. It's short-lived. Or like those fidget spinners, short-lived.
Yeah.
So again, like no matter what you're looking at, do your due diligence, just like anything else. Grow your email list, grow your audience, set up all your funnels, all your strategies to, again, move people around, because it's all about moving them in a circle. The more they see you, the more they love you, the more they talk about you, the more they become your advocates, your, people who are raving for you. And have your exit strategy. So you know that like you're going in, you're going to make as much money as you possibly can and pull out. And then those funds can go into a whole nother product line, you know what I mean? Like, or into something else. So you're always reusing what you have, and you're using it to scale. So it's like, don't be afraid of those one-time, purchases. There's millions of people in the world. You can get enough people to buy something one time. You know what I mean? Like, so like, don't be afraid of it, and don't put roadblocks because of these like different uncertainties. It's just like, just give her, just do it.
I think exactly. I think one challenge is just like, okay, if you have, like let's say you've got a product you're selling for $100, cost of goods is $50, which is high. That's, you'd obviously like it to be less, but let's say that's what it is. And you want to make money on that sale, because you might get you might get a referral from that customer, but you also might not. So you really need to, they're not going to buy it again. You really need to make money on that sale. That's, is that type of thing possible with Amazon ads, or is it really, really difficult to get your acquisition costs low enough for that?
Yeah, it is possible, but it's definitely hard, especially like, a decade ago when like the fees to be on Amazon were very manageable. Like so manageable. And like every 6 months, the fees are going up, their fees are going up, their fees are going up. And so, people who used to have like, a 50 or higher profit margin down to 30% are like, woo, we can be 30. That's amazing. And now it's down to like 15% profit margin or lower. It's one of those things that every business has to do their due diligence. They have to do the research. They have to make sure that, the numbers make sense. Like none of us can say nothing about anybody because we don't know the numbers, right? The numbers have to make sense. But again, at the end of the day, if you are leveraging Amazon to fill your pipeline over here where your fees are smaller and you have a bigger profit margin, you're moving those brand new people who would never find you any other way unless they found you on Amazon. Again, you have to think about all the different angles and how you can leverage the power of Amazon to boost what you got going on over here. You know what I mean? So again, the numbers, do they make sense? Do you have a good enough strategy, good enough funnel set up that you are purposely using Amazon to find more shoppers to bring over here? Then it's totally worth it, because you're going to be spending money to acquire new customers no matter how you shake it, right? So people go to Amazon for social proof. Like I literally go into Whole Foods, pick up a vitamin bottle, and then I go to Amazon and I look it up because I want to see the damn reviews. Like I may not be buying it on Amazon, but it's exactly what I need in order for me to be able to make that educated buyer choice. So even if you don't use Amazon as your main distribution channel, every single freaking product that you own needs to be there, and that listing needs to be optimized, and you do need to have it at least matured enough to have a few enough reviews that if someone does look at you just because they want to compare, you have like literally set yourself up. Like, this is what I want you to think about me. This is what I want you to think about my product. And then you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You get that social proof and you establish yourself and you have that presence. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I love that perspective too. So Ashley, through your entrepreneurial journey, I mean, it seems like it's still going, right? And you're still,
hell yeah.
it's a full swing and you're killing it. So
it's fun. It's been a lot of fun. I actually have another TV segment that's airing 2 days from now from List TV. Awesome. It's going on CNBC, ABC, CBS, I don't know, like 44 cities in the US. It's going to be airing in 2 days. So that's super fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll have to tune into that.
For sure. We'll have to check it out. But from the highs and lows that you've experienced, I mean, because I know everybody's journey is not on the up and up,
Hell no. And it wouldn't be fun if it was.
Exactly. And if it was, I don't think you're a true entrepreneur, right? I mean, because the game is about failure, succeeding, figuring out ways to defeat the failure and not to make some of the same mistakes over and over. And with that said, what has been the most difficult thing for you being an entrepreneur?
Well, first thing I would definitely want to make sure that I bring up, this is one of the biggest things that I love to talk about, is first and foremost, how strong is your failure muscle? You got to ask yourself that question, because as an entrepreneur, we take failure in every single day of our lives, where the general population doesn't have to constantly figure out how to get something done all on their own between their 2 ears. You know what I mean? So it's something that you have to work and you have to be good at it, and you have to like get up fast and you have to heal fast in order to keep going. So first and foremost, how strong is your failure muscle, and are you flexing that failure muscle? And I want to make sure that people understand that it's part of the game, and failure is a very positive thing because it's life's lessons. So get your butt back up and do it again. So that's kind of first number one. But my biggest thing when it comes, I have so many failures. It's ridiculous. One of the biggest ones was I had to literally destroy $150,000 worth of product because I couldn't move it. And I got stuck into warehousing issues and this issue. Like it's a huge ass story. So that was kind of one big thing. Another one is I hired a con artist who was referred to me from a friend, and that guy stole $60,000 and destroyed a division of the business. And it destroyed me, to be quite honest with you. It took me a little while to kind of bounce back, or even talk to the person who referred the person to me. So that was kind of a BITCH. I had IP issues. Like I'm literally rebranding right now because I have a business name that's identical to another person who has the same business name minus one letter. And I'm like, gosh darn it, like, give me a break. So it's like 3 trademarks later and we're literally rebranding and just launched a brand new product, which happened to be product infographic templates. So we can create those infographics that I was talking about. We actually have 175 templates, 18 categories, easy peasy, 3 minutes, you're done. So those things are ready to go, but we had to rebrand everything because we found out there's IP issues. Yeah, like the list goes on and on and on. Every week there's something new that you kind of have to get over. But I have been like working and flexing my failure muscle so much over the last decade that I will cry or I will freak out or I will do like every normal human thing. But it's like, as soon as I release that energy, I'm like, I was going to swear. Okay. I was going to like get back up and like just go again. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like literally right now, my entire training program and platform that's launched and ready to go, which happened to go with, the infographic templates and a program and course about how to properly position your product line. It's a mini masterclass. It's super short, sweet, to the point. And we have amazing feedback, which is great and dandy, but the damn freaking landing pages that we built everything on won't open fast enough. So none of the ads will run on it. So I literally have to rebuild the last 6 months worth of work of funnels and affiliate programs and training and everything on a whole new platform. So Kajabi is now my new best friend, and we're literally starting that right now. So the last 6 months worth of work is literally gone up in flames. And I was like, yeah, shit, whatever. All right, let's keep going. It is what it is. Just keep doing it. So, it's no matter what, you're still going to experience things. So just get up really fast and keep going.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's it. You just got to keep moving, because there's always a solution for whatever problem it is. And it might be really frustrating, but I like that, where you just kind of get that emotion out. And then once that's out, then you can move on. You don't have to keep it all in all the time and pretend everything's perfect, but
yeah. I hate that part, because like really, one of my mentors, like I freaking love the little line that she uses. She's like, shit needs to happen in order for a shift to happen. And it's so true. Like, how many times have things that were supposed to be really good not happen, but the silver lining end up being 10 times better?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So, all the time. Yeah. Yeah. We were just talking about this actually yesterday, Clint and I, on another episode, but I mean, it's exactly right. You really need sometimes the thing that you think is going to be the thing that you need, like you need that job, you need to get into that college, you need to, launch this product perfectly, and it needs to hit a certain target number of sales or whatever it is. You don't hit that. And it just, every single time, as long as you're continuing to get up and move forward, you're going to figure out something better is going to come along, and maybe it's not better. Maybe it's just different, and that's fine, So yeah, I love that. Well, Ashley, as we wrap up this episode, I mean, there's still, I've got questions, I've got more Amazon questions for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm always here. You know where to reach me.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll have to have you back on the show. Do a follow-up, but it's been great to have you on. If you could, before we go, is there one more piece of advice like that you could offer to our audience that, might help them on their entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. I really love that you said that. This is something that's going in entrepreneur.com right now, but I'll let you guys know in advance and all your audience. One thing that I love to talk about, like September was, self-care month. And, you see it all over the news, everyone talking about, exercising, drinking water and taking your vitamins and blah, blah, blah. And that's all great. And I totally agree 100%. But I want to talk about self-care for the entrepreneur, because it's totally different. Right. And I have a big ass list. I'm not going to go through them all, but generally speaking, you want to think about, first and foremost, as we talked about, flex your failure muscle, be okay with it. It's part of the journey. Enjoy it as best as possible. You want to get yourself a head coach. You really want to make sure that you have someone in your corner, the best in the world. Like I come from a pro athletic family, all Olympians, I'm a downhill ski racer, the whole 9 yards. Every single best person in the world when it comes to movie star person or NFL or Olympics, they all have head coaches. They all have someone in their corner that helps the 6 inches between the ears, because we're human and we're going to fall off our path, and we need someone to help us get back on again. You need to have that buddy, that person who you can talk to, again, vent, get it out, and then move forward. Making sure that if you are going to buy into a program, if you are going to get consulting or mentorship from someone, make sure that you totally block off your calendar and you're only focusing on that. This shiny object syndrome bullcrap is too much. Like, people think that they can constantly solve their damn problems by buying this, but your bandwidth can't even handle one of them, let alone 5 of them. And then, on top of that, reach out and create your gosh darn support community. Nobody understands what it's like to be an entrepreneur. Nobody, your family doesn't understand, your spouse doesn't understand. It is hard that you have to remember and think of every single aspect, and you have to hire people. You have to be an expert in everything. You have to learn everything. You have to have the money to hire and bring the people in. Like I like to call Henry Ford it. Push a button on a box, the expert comes in, they answer the question, and then the job gets done. Henry Ford it if you can do it, but if you can't do it and you can't afford it, it's all on your shoulders. So reach out, network with people, get into mastermind groups, find your tribe of people that will allow you to, all the frustrations, the emotions, but also get the support, the advice, the help. What software tool are you using? Where are you going here? What conference are you going to? You know what I mean? And so there's a lot more other than that, but if there's anything I can leave anybody with, think about self-care for the entrepreneur in a business sense. And, from that point moving forward, you're going to set and create a foundation that allows you to enjoy your journey, because it's frustrating as hell, but you want to enjoy it as best as possible. And so Take care of yourself. You know what I mean? One way or the other, take care of yourself.
Yeah, I love that, because if you can enjoy it, the days that it's enjoyable are sometimes just as tough as the days when we're not enjoying it, right? But the difference is just that mindset, and that mindset can come from resting or taking a step back or talking to somebody who, has a good perspective, who can help you get in the right frame of mind. And that's everything. So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think that's a wrap for this episode. And from the both of us, Ashley, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us and adding value to what we're doing on our podcast. Oh,
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, it's been great to have you on the show. Guys, thank you so much for listening to That Entrepreneur Life. To learn more about what Ashley's working on, check out amazeauthority.com. That's MAAZ authority.com. If you like what you heard today, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or any other major podcast directory. You can also find us on all the socials and on our website at thatentrepreneurlife.com.
And with that said, we also want to quickly give a special shout out to our family, friends, to include all of our listeners, followers, and subscribers. If you find value in our show, please consider making a donation. Even just a few dollars helps us keep things moving along and brings value to your entrepreneurial journey. Thanks for continuing to support what we do as entrepreneurs. And don't forget to join us next week for another episode of That Entrepreneur Life.
Thanks for listening to That Entrepreneur Life podcast. Be sure to visit thatentrepreneurlife.com to join the conversation, access our show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode as we continue to add value. Until next time.